From Surviving Rocklahoma, I'm your host with the Locks That Rocks. I'm Adam Richmond, and I am joined by all four of the fellas from a little band you may have heard called Dryver, and they have an excellent single out right now. What is up, guys?
What's cracking?
Hey, how you doing, Adam?
Hello, Surviving Rocklahoma. Hey, getting us all four in the same room's about a feat of magic lately.
It's
Yes,
what
sir.
I do, man. And I've got to say, Tulsa is all abuzz about this new video you guys have got, both on pretty much on all the local podcasts. So thank you guys for giving me the interview as we're all playing the stuff. Tell me a little bit about this new video you guys have got coming up.
Started from the concept of the song, and then Brandon actually took lead that he had already a cool idea and a concept, so off to find videographers and people to work with, and I think Brandon can explain the rest after that.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. The song itself is actually based upon a true life experience down in Texas. I moved down there for music, and the song "Blow My Mind" came from one day out of the blue, where the band I was in at the time, we were at a townhouse. We were living in a townhouse together. And I'm walking in the door, and a light pops on in the house next to me, because the way their house was, the back of their house was facing my room. And a light pops on, and all of a sudden, this girl just walks right by the window. And I was like, what the heck? And when she walks back by, she's topless. And it was just totally like, what the hell? Yeah. So, yeah, that's where the initial plant seed for the idea of the song came from. For that whole next several months, they never closed the curtains ever. And so that's where the basis for the song came. Blow My Mind, because it's actually really cool to see somebody that's comfortable in their own skin like that in the first place. But yeah, it's kind of mind blowing to see that kind of comfort and freedom. So, but then we got a hold of once the song was established and done, we with the album, of course, then we went to videographer and found a basic idea of pictures that are kind of resembling that situation. They're aware of what's going on and just don't care, and how it can be just a mind-blowing experience.
Wow. Well, Brandon, since you've already broke the ice, you came on to the show a little bit later after the band's already been established. Can you tell me a little bit about what it was like hopping in the van as it's already been established and already trucking?
First, you had to move out of that nudist colony.
Yeah, that was a tough call, man. You had to pull me out of there, kick it. So,
Right? I'd have told him no.
yeah, I'm like, what? Well, moving? What? So,
Why? You see where I'm living, right? No.
I kind of knew these guys from before. I had a band up in Wichita, and we had played with Dryver a couple times. And when I was we had moved down to Texas for quite a while, a couple years, and things weren't progressing as I wanted to in Texas. And then I saw Mike and Nathan at different times posting about how they were looking for a lead singer. And this was actually after they were after their fill-in guy. Mm-hmm. But jumping into the band in midstream, we kind of had to feel each other out for a little while first to see what direction we wanted to take the music, because with their old singer, their music had a very distinct sound. Very specific sound that was based around the way he wrote. And I knew coming in that the way I wrote was lyrically, it was going to be very different, because I'm not in the same places as the previous singer. Mm-hmm. And the things I write about are different subjects, completely different subject matter. And we even adjusted the sound to kind of fit that throughout probably about the course of about 6 to 8 months. We adjusted the sound to fit the new lyrical content and where we were going with voice wise.
That's awesome. I'm glad to see you guys meshing so well as you've joined and came in. Now, Mike, I know that you're one of the hardest working musicians I know of in Tulsa. I mean, you're in several bands. How
Thanks, man.
How is that for you, trying to juggle between all the different bands as well as keeping fresh new content out?
I gave up sleep. I just don't even fucking care anymore, you know. And I want to say that we were already struggling a little bit, not coming from dissing anybody, but
Right.
we had wanted to make changes and we were trying to turn corners.
Sure.
And just chemistry, it just wasn't working with our last vocalist.
Mm-hmm.
So when Brandon came on, he already is a creator. He's a lyricist. He already had ideas. Him and Nathan mashed up good. So the bending, building, being cohesive process in the 6-8 months, we wanted to do that anyway. So having somebody come in that was able to do that, yeah, that was a breath of fresh air, which made us have to go back to work, which I've never been afraid of hard work.
Sure.
If I'm tired and sore, then hopefully I've done something and I'm happy. Well, you know, I love traveling when the band's out and playing. If I'm not happy, I'm home, so that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I just love what I do. I'm 12. I can't help it. Just live entertainment to me is still magical.
Sure.
It's a release. It's an escape, you know, and everything else that you can put into it. Besides, it's just some of the most fun to do in the oxygen breathing world.
Sure.
We get to be children and have a blast and go hang out with people we admire, friends, family. It's a lot of fun. And then, you know, I try and sleep when I can and eat a shitload of vitamins.
That's awesome. I'm glad you're taking care of yourself. You guys definitely do mesh very well. Let's see Nathan, how, and Jude, I guess this is for both of you guys. How is it for you guys, fitting in, seeing, both the new guy coming in and, Mike has multiple projects and he's always working stuff. Do you guys find yourselves like accumulating music content so that you can bring them together when you guys unite and bring this rock together?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll do individual writing and then present that to the group and hash it out as a group. Get musical ideas to Brandon so he can get a vocal bed down, and then once it's substantially complete, we'll iron it all out as a group, put the final touches on it. But yeah, we try to use a lot of different elements at our disposal for recording at our own homes and submitting things via the internet, email, and stuff to be as efficient as possible. We all don't live under the same roof, so
yeah.
Yeah, we definitely make the most of the time we've got together. We like bring riff ideas. You know how that stuff will manifest. You can be sleeping and wake up in the middle of the night and there's a riff idea, record it real quick, and that's what I do. So I'm always able to bring it. It seems like it meshed very well where we can bring riffs to, Brandon. He seems to be able just to pop the lyrics out within no time. Almost always got something already that can work with it or something like that. The secret lyric book that he's got either in his mind or wherever, but he's able to do it.
That's about no shit. He's had stuff that was already a work in progress. Like, we need to put music to these words.
Right.
Yeah, Brandon and I both have a backlog of creative material because inspiration strikes you when not on schedule, but when it wants to. So you record ideas and you add them to the pile, and then periodically you draw from the pile and you find a lyric idea that matches up well with a musical idea.
That's
and
awesome.
Spit out a song.
So the talk of the town right now is COVID. How did you guys spend your downtime? So I mean, you couldn't really perform, and even for those of you who have multiple projects, what were you guys doing with all of your free time?
COVID, I've never heard of her. I don't know who she is.
From our camp, my wife and I went to work on getting everything together for the distribution of this album. We also, because she does the business management end of the band. Yeah, we went to work on getting videos done for every song. So we will be releasing videos for every song on the album. Some are lyric videos. Some that we actually have one or two actual just full on music videos as well. And then finding the graphic artist for our website, finding everything that's needed to be done on the business end of things. We really just had to get the business end of the band in line. And so we took the time from COVID to do that.
That's great.
Yeah, we had kind of been slacking, and it was nothing. Basically, bottom line, it was excuses, and then you do get busy and whatnot. But there was just the one thing that COVID did give us some time. Like Brandon said, he was able to find the people. Him and his wife have been busting ass business wise, getting stuff done. Then as we're getting the songs back from the producer through the course of the last several months before finalization, learning to play them, getting the parts better, and then of course I got 17 things going on. Working on new music, a little back and forth with everybody. And then, of course, I'm also a drum tech, so there was a few gigs that popped up here and there. Every home project in the world. And I've been going through a rephase of drum lessons. I'm trying to reinvent some of my playing. I'm changing my drum set around. So luckily, I've basically gone to a workshop for the last 3 months.
That's awesome. How about you, Jude? What were you doing to kill the time?
Oh, lots of different things. I mean, I'm early retired, so the band is pretty much all I do now. So I've got a room set up in the back to practice and jam, just ripping through riffs every day. I mean, I play as much as I can still. And amongst other stuff, we got all kinds of house projects done, but it's been great for us, actually, this downtime from like gigging and stuff like that. We were actually able to do the backbone work, like the select artwork, what have you, that type of stuff. So I'm glad Brandon took advantage of that time. And I got that done, but yeah, I've just been polishing chops and playing still.
That's great.
Been playing since I was 16. I'll still keep playing like I'm 16. Fun.
And we're both children, and we have remote control vehicles too.
Oh, dude, I've got an RC track that I built in the backyard. That kinds of stuff. I've been having fun, man. I'm 10 years old again back there.
Nathan, have you been putting together some riffs and adding them to your catalog there, ready to plug and play?
A little bit. Honestly, the COVID situation has been an extreme challenge for a lot of people's lives. So there's been a lot of focus on health and finances, being able to put food on the table, a lot of survival things that unfortunately had to put music on hold for a little bit. So it was a rough few months, not having rehearsals, not being able to perform live shows. So at this point, I'm just looking forward to putting all that behind me and trying to get back to normal. I mean, it's been brutal, honestly, trying to live within those constraints.
I imagine.
Last couple of rehearsals, we did. There's room here that we can be far enough apart. A lot of airflow going on. I've got mega disinfecting everything, so anything that's a flat surface I pretty much have killed oxygen. And we were doing the mask thing. Of course, Brandon can't because he can't sing through it, although that was a great look. I should have taken more pictures. So we're able to do that, and the fact that I'm also a drum tech, I'm the full-time entertainment tech at Osage Casino. So if I'm not pushing or playing my gear, I'm pushing somebody else's. That's what I do full-time. So now it's just all about focusing what's COVID going to do for the next phase of being able to have live entertainment. At the moment, the indoor people are very nervous, and I don't blame them. It seems like there's going to be more outdoor stuff where you can be further apart, but there's a whole lot of I don't know, and I think that's kind of the case with everybody.
Yeah, we've had to be real careful, too, because I'm extremely at risk myself. I've got congestive heart failure and muscular dystrophy, so if I get that illness, I'm a goner. So I've been, extremely careful wearing the mask wherever we can. So that was hard to, go from full steam every weekend practicing, or, every week practicing and weekend gigs, complete screech of the brakes. It's like we come to a complete halt. That was just an eye-opener. I've never been there before. I mean, fortunately, financially, I was okay on that, but I'm a at-home body anyway, but yeah, definitely, it's been hard to get used to not doing things, especially band-wise, because I've been doing it 26 years music-wise, and never really let up, and it's hard to keep going and stop. But we had to be careful, you know what I mean? It's like I couldn't risk getting anything like that, and even as we play, I mean, we're still going to have to take the precautionary measures, disinfect, wear the masks, that sort of thing. I'm kind of glad that part's behind us. At least now we can get back to practicing at least. But yeah, I'm still kind of hurry up and wait mode.
For sure. Well, I am glad that you guys are finally able to get together and rehearse and put that music together. Did you guys come back with just a stockpile of ideas each and just ready to start plugging it together? All right, let's put something together. I've got this idea. I've had this idea. Or did it just kind of naturally just come and fall together?
I think it ends up being a little bit of both, but the main focus right now is the new stuff. Like there was tracks we sent into the producer that we needed his help to get a finish, so we can, okay, this is the finished product, let's play it like this.
Sure.
So there's learning some of those, and then those guys I'm sure have all got riffs and whatnot, but the main focus has been the current body to make sure that it's good and get it finalized. And then I just think as it opens and we get back to whatever the schedule is going to be, the more we see, the more we'll write.
That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about your new song. We alluded to it a little bit earlier. Was that something that you guys have been working on before the pandemic, or is this all new?
Are you talking about Blow My Mind?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was shortly before.
Yeah. Blow My Mind's been in the pipeline for probably 18 months to 2 years overall.
Oh, wow.
As far as how long it's been done, because we really recorded the album. We waited on our production for quite a while because we recorded the album in February of 2019. I think that's when we recorded the last couple tracks anyway. And then, or when we got the final guitar tracks done and the final vocal tracks done. The producer had it for several months and then got it back to us in late 2019 as far as the last track. And then from there on out is where we started putting together the battle plan and the game plan to put it out, to get our business in line and get it out and about. And right when we were getting ready to strike, that's when COVID-19 hit, and that kind of put a slowdown on things. But it gave us a little breathing room to not have to book a bunch of live shows and a CD release, because originally we were looking at a CD release party, listening party, that type of thing in March. But then COVID showed up in late January, and so we naturally canceled that and just pushed everything back. So then we finally decided, well, we need to get this album released, and that's where we came up with the August date and pushed it back to August, because we figured that would give everyone time to figure out how this disease is going to affect the music industry, but also figure out how it's going to affect live shows and things like a release party, whether we have to do it outside with people 6 feet apart, that kind of thing. So the song itself, Blow My Mind, has been around for a while, and even been finished for over a year, but we weren't going to release it and then wait 9 months to a year to release the album after that. We wanted to have the single released within a couple months of the album.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about the new album. How many tracks are on the new album?
10.
And this is the new your first single that you're releasing off of it. Do we expect a couple more releases before you drop the whole album, or is this just a little sample to wet our whistle before you drop the whole thing on us?
Videos wise, we're going to put out a couple videos, but we were only planning on 2 releases, Blow My Mind, and then one more song in July before the August 25th full album. Now we do have a couple other surprises up our sleeve that we'll keep our cards against our chest on. Like we have a October surprise, but that's all I'm going to say about it. But yeah, there's several different things we're doing to keep this album in the mind's eye for it, at least until the end of the year. So that way, all the way through the release time, it'll be forefront in people's minds.
That's awesome.
Exactly.
Glad we've got things coming down the pipeline. We absolutely love surprises, and we love that little bread trail before we get to it. Look at that beautiful thing. Hold it a little closer to the camera so we can see it. That's beautiful. Where do you get these graphics from, man?
And you know what one of my favorites is goofy ass, or maybe not goofy ass. The back of the record is the back of the guy's head. Why that's so grabbing, I don't know. But it's like, hey, it's the back of the album, it's the back of his head. I get it. Ha ha. Drummer's caught up. Look at me. Hey, man, it was a great concept. I think it was one of those, either Brandon bumped his head or it was one of those sex shower ideas. He goes, dude, I got this idea. And man, he has hit a freaking home run with this idea. It looks freaking great.
That's awesome. And what remind me again, what's the name of the new album?
Origin.
Awesome. And so what do we got to expect in that album? Is it going to be more of the same that we come to expect from Dryver, or are you guys going to take us on a little bit of a different direction or a journey?
You're definitely going on a musical journey with this album. There's original song, the first single, Blow My Mind, obviously. There's a song that Mike penned the lyrics on called Pulse. It's a very slow feeling song that we've got. And then we've got a song that you've probably heard on our website and pushed a little bit before. That was the first song our producer got back to us, called Immortal. And then there's several tracks that are very hard hitting and very fast paced, is true to the band's form. So we tried to throw in a couple. There was quick story. Nathan and I got together one day, a long time ago, obviously. But I went over to Nathan's house and said, "Hey, I got these two songs," and we just put down the basic guitar and basic vocal, because I already had the vocal in my head. I just sang it to him, and then we put down a basic guitar for it. And we took that to the band, and we wrote those two songs just for this album. We've never played them live, but they're just on the album, so nobody's ever heard them live before. One of them is called Battle Cry, and the other one is called Cry Baby Bridge. So one's a scary story, and the other one's kind of a rally cry. But both of those two songs are surprises on this album, especially even for long-term fans of the band, because they've never been heard live. They've never been put out in the public before.
That's great. I like that.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. It's a different twist.
That's good. And so we're expecting an August release as current plan, correct?
Correct.
Yes, August 25th.
Awesome. And you guys got any gigs coming up in the near future?
I have just started reopening that can of worms. Of course, obviously, we want to get out and play, but it's all about COVID and what's going on right now and who's going to play what. There's some maybes coming up. We might get to do some traveling maybe next month. Everything's still in the phone call, hurry up and wait. The one that stayed on the books that never left, we're going to be in Joplin Labor Day weekend at a paranormal convention.
Oh, that is awesome.
And he changed the name apparently a month ago, and I missed it, and it's now called the Paraconcert. And I was like, that's such cheese. I love it. But speakers, guest speakers, people that are ghost hunters, people that have TV shows and ghost hunter TV stuff like that, panels, discussions, and then we're going to see if we can rattle the supernatural realm for a little while that night.
Oh, that is epic.
There's some other maybes that are just starting, with also all the other cats that I work with and the other bands. As they're slowly starting to get out, it's slowly starting to openings. Boy, that's good English for us to open for some shows. So, and there's some August dates, and it seems the August, September, as it gets toward the end of the year, people feel a little better. We'll just see what happens.
That's great. And as we start to wind down the interview, I like to give all of my guests their chance to plug any projects they might be working on, or give their special thanks, or just give everybody their chance to hop on the soapbox. Nathan, we can start with you, buddy. Put you on the spot.
All right. I'll just thank all the guys in the band for putting up with me and for making this possible. So couldn't have done it without them.
You bet. How about you, Jude?
Oh man, dude, it's like same with the guys. I mean, heck, me and Nathan have been playing since we were 17, 18, somewhere back in there. So we've been together a long time. Mike, I've known him forever. Brandon, and that's another thing I want to add. Brandon seems like, even though he joined recently, in spirit form, I feel like I've written with him for many years. It's kind of a neat little feeling. So I definitely thank the band for, making this happen. And Robin too. It's like our bassist. Of course, he couldn't make it to the interview, but
sure,
been in the saddle with us too. Me and him grew up friends since we were 15 years old, racing RCs and bike riding when we were kids, and become musicians together. It's definitely there. And I definitely want to thank John LeCompte, man, our producer. Dude, this guy did wonders. I mean, this is the first time I've actually recorded in a studio setting where it's not just like hit the record button and what you write is what's on there. This guy made me a better musician, opened my eyes to how you play, actually. Believe it or not, you've been playing for 26 years, I'm still learning, so.
Oh, yeah.
Thank our producer, and definitely thank Jennifer for doing all the, Brandon's wife, for doing all that backbone work. That's a job in its own right there.
That's no
Very,
shit.
yeah, that's for sure. That's made things very much better for us for a long time.
That's awesome. Brandon, you're up.
Well, I mean, Jude hit the nail on the head with several things. John LeCompte, obviously, I'll reiterate that. He helped us define our sound. We knew what we wanted to sound like, and he helped us hit that, plus enhanced it beyond what we could have imagined it was going to be. I know he does several projects, but Red Room Studios out of Little Rock, he's just outside of Little Rock, Arkansas, in Benton.
Yeah.
If there's any other musicians listening to this podcast, you owe it to yourself to spend a little bit of money and go there, because it's an all-inclusive shop. He does everything. It's a little time-consuming, but it's rewarding in the back end. You hear the sound that everything comes out of it. So, and of course, Jennifer doing as much work as many hours and hours and hours of work, because I get to see it, obviously, and assist in everything she does. But hours and hours and hours of behind-the-scenes work, and handpicking everything that's done, like finding the album art and purchasing that, to taking that to a graphic artist to change it into our full album layout and cover, and getting everything done on that end, as well as getting the business in line so that we could start an online store and have everything in line to make money while we are stuck inside, to make this machine get our revenue streams up and running that need to be there for us to be able to take advantage of everything that we need to be able to as a band to survive. And that's really the biggest point of it. And as far back to John, there are a couple other projects I am working on with him. One of them out of Pennsylvania. It's completely unnamed. It's just myself and a guitarist, and it's more just straight radio rock. But I'm really excited about what's coming out of that. And we haven't put a label on it yet or a name on it yet, but I like what we're hearing anyway. So one of those type of things. So yeah, I mean, I would look for that to start sprouting wings within the next year or so, on top of what we continue to do with Dryver. So
that's awesome.
Let's just. It's been very eye-opening working with John LeCompte. Here I am sitting in his studio, and a bucket or two Grammy sitting on up on his shelf.
Wow.
7 records sold by Evanescence sitting on the wall there, and I was like, that was a very humbling experience right there. It's like, wow, I'm really sitting here doing this. Never thought I'd be here. This is and I could tell the way he was actually producing the record, not just recording. I was like, he was showing me actually how to play things. I mean, and I loved it. Nathan and I were like kids in a candy store, It's like, we love to be taught, still love being students. And it was definitely an eye-opening school for sure. But yeah, it was very humbling. Definitely enjoyed it.
That's awesome. And let me tell you guys have got something, especially with this new album. I see great things for you guys. Mike, we see you everywhere when it comes to live music, so I definitely didn't want to last but not least, what do you got going on for you, man?
Oh man, I try to bake where there's not enough hours in the day. Busy is good for me.
Yeah.
And I tend to have diarrhea of the face, and the world knows that. Starting with John, the producer. Yeah, like Jude said, I look up and the Grammys were like right there staring at me on the shelf. I'm like, can you make those not look at me while I'm playing? He was amazing to work with. I still get a kick out of some of the stops in the songs when there needed to be no sound coming out of a cymbal. He was actually in the studio extra grabbing the cymbal to make sure it was quiet. It's just little touches like that I just got a huge kick out of. And I am a giant pain in the ass. So it's lucky that, the guys in the band haven't shot me in my sleep. Plain and simple, I make no bones about that. I'm lucky that I work with some amazing people, and I'm lucky that I work and get to use some amazing equipment. I'm endorsed by everything I play, which is just a huge, it just proves I'm a lucky son of a bitch, plain and simple. And then, of course, I do work hard. I bust ass at it. I like being a tech. I like being a player. Like I said, I'm 14. I'm a kid with a brand new toy at Christmas every time I get to do this because I get to do this.
That's awesome. I love that humility, guys. Although you guys do have a ton of stuff to be proud of, you guys are pumping out some amazing music, and you guys send shockwaves every time you guys play, no matter where you play. So I am eternally grateful. There's the missus. And
He's like, no, not on the camera. Yeah, we owe her a huge debt lately because she's had to go through, the business is the Brussels sprout side of what we do. And she's been forking down big facefuls and getting shit done. So that's awesome.
That's awesome. Well, what they say, behind every great man is a great woman. So appreciate those in the wings and those behind the scenes. And I am so glad you guys have such a sense of humility and reality and understanding the way the machine works.
Thank you for what you do, just in general, helping the ground pounders like us and supporting live and local and helping spread the word. Thank you for the support you've given to us. We do this because, we're in love with it, but we couldn't get things done without, love and support. And obviously, thank you, bro, very much.
Oh, it's my pleasure, and thank you guys for giving me something to cover. But I think that's starting to wrap things up, and what is the best way to find you guys, to book you guys? If somebody wants you to play at their venue, how do they get a hold of Dryver?
You can start with Dryvr.com, leave a message on anybody's Facebook page. The Dryver
we have a booking email. Yeah, booking@dryver.com. Yeah.
Great. And you
pretty
guys,
much all the electric stuff, one of us is going to get a message or an indicator somehow, and we'll check it.
Awesome. And you guys, those of you who are watching, be sure that you are keeping up with the events on Facebook, the Facebook pages. Be sure you check these guys out on Facebook, their website, anywhere you get your music. Look up Dryver with a Y, because these guys are definitely something you guys want to hear out, and you're actually going to hear a little bit from them here in just a couple of minutes right here on Surviving Rocklahoma. Also, be sure you check out YouTube. You can find their videos as well as these interviews. And for Dryver, thank you guys so much for joining me for this interview. The pleasure is all mine. Keep doing what you're doing. And for myself, your host with the Locks That Rocks, Adam Richmond, this has been Surviving Rocklahoma. Be sure you like and subscribe, and follow me every Sunday night at 9 p.m. right on Facebook. You can also check me out on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, anywhere you get your podcasts. You can find me right there. And until next time, as always, rock on.